Good morning, Year 10. Before I start today's lesson, I would just like to start by saying how nice it was to see many of you at the one-to-one interviews, and I'm hoping that I will see some of you this week. But for those of you that I don't see, you will need to follow this video lesson for the last assignment task, which is assignment task 5. Before we go any further in the lesson, you'll notice there is a pause icon. Can you pause the video, please, and go into the Google Classroom and get up the worksheet for today's lesson, which is 2 successful leaders. Right, we'll begin today's lesson with the recall activity. As we've been doing in the previous lessons, can you do the colour that relates to the one you are, please, and complete it on your worksheet? So you need to pause the video now, please, and have a go. Right, hopefully we didn't find that too difficult. The 9 qualities that you could have chosen from that we covered last lesson were enthusiasm, communication, punctuality, appearance, creativity, humour, organisation, motivation, and confidence. Obviously, I will read your answers and give you some feedback on the worksheet. The learning objectives of today's lesson. So our focus is looking at 2 specific sports leaders who are very different. So for a level 1, we need to be able to identify 2 different types of sports leaders. For a level 2 pass, we need to be able to describe those 2 sports leaders. And for a level 2 merit to distinction star, we need to explain why those leaders are so successful. On this screen, I've shared with you the marking criteria for this Learning Outcome 1, which is all the assignments that we've done so far. They're all part of Learning Outcome 1. So you can see what you need to be able to do to get into that top mark band. Everybody should be aiming to get into at least mark band 2, please. Okay, the first task. What we need to do is you need to choose 2 different types of leaders that you're going to use in your assignment. Now, these don't necessarily have to be famous sports leaders. They could be a PE teacher at UAK, or they could be one of your coaches or managers if you are in a team outside of school. They could also be the captain of your school team that you would like to discuss if you're in one of the school teams. So think carefully about which leaders you're going to choose. The key thing is that they must have very different leadership styles so that you can compare and contrast them. So the first task I'd like you to do is choose your 2 that you're going to write about. So have a think and then pause the video, and I would like you to make some notes in the sections that say Leader 1 and Leader 2. So if you pause the video now, please, and complete that task. Now that you've got some information on your 2 leaders, you can start assignment task 4. But before you do that, please, can you make sure that you read through? There are 2 sample Mark Band 3 pieces of work in the Google Classroom. Please make sure you read them through before you start your own, and remember they're sample material, so you cannot copy them. The deadline for the assignment is on Friday the